Hi, everyone. I guess we're gonna start in a few minutes. I'm really happy that you guys were able to join us. Today we have here two amazing speakers who have really rich experience in e-commerce space and then the content localization. Please let us know where you're from, because I guess for many people it's evening time. For Justin, it's actually morning time.
Yeah.
We're based in different areas. I'm based in Dubai. Justin based in US, right? In LA.
That's right.
Yeah. What about Jana? I heard that you're now in vacation.
Yes, I'm currently on vacation in Croatia, so I'm in Europe.
In Europe, yeah.
Me and Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay. Yeah, so today webinar is in English. We all speak English. Yep. So about the webinar, we're gonna start in a few minutes. If you have something to say, please write it down and ask us the questions, but we're gonna reply on everything, like afterwards, because we would like to, like everyone know what our speakers are willing to share, the important information, and after they will go through their questions and for the details. Okay, then let's start. Today we're going to talk about how to make international expansion and how actually localize your content, how to adjust your strategy to go into the new market. What exactly is agenda? First, we're going to talk about the content. Is it important to localize the content? Then we're going to go through the common mistakes when you expand into international marketplaces. It's not actually marketplaces, but more like from the D2C model and marketplaces too. Then we're going to talk about how to create compelling content that converts. And of course, we're going to talk a bit about SEO optimization. We're going to talk of importance of content benchmark, and we're going to talk about how actually develop right product search strategy. It's like a lot for one small webinar, but I think we're gonna finish in 40 minutes or 1 hour. So here is our speakers. First, let me introduce myself. I'm co-founder of software called Sellscreen. We help merchants and sellers to create right product strategy. I'm working in e-commerce for the last 11 years. I used to work in the marketplace, inside the marketplace for 6 years. And now I'm running a SaaS business, which helps leading companies such as FMCG companies, Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, to better understand how to improve their performance on marketplaces and also on D2C, how to improve their D2C initiatives also. And here is our speakers. Jana. Jana is founder of YLT Translations, and please introduce yourself, because I think you can better introduce yourself in terms of your experience.
Sure. So yeah, thank you so much for the intro. I'm the founder and CEO of YLT Translations. We've been around for almost 4 years, and we help sellers expand to global marketplaces. We help both the Amazon sellers and also the ones that have Shopify stores as well. We have a big team of about 80 people. We're a fully remote team located everywhere, basically worldwide. And I myself, I have about 15 years of e-commerce experience. I've worked in Denmark, in the US, a lot of countries before I started my own company. And that's it. I'm really happy to be here. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Perfect. Yeah, Jana is actually also an international speaker. She speaks on content in many conferences. So it's a real pleasure to have you here. And also the amazing thing that Jana has many clients and really big team. So 80 people of native speakers, like who can help to translate your content in many languages. And here we have another amazing speaker here and professional from founder of PickFu. Yeah, it's actually very cool tool, and I think Justin can introduce yourself better than me.
Sure. Yeah. Hi. So my name's Justin. I'm one of the co-founders of PickFu. It's a self-service consumer research platform. So it helps get really fast crowdsourced feedback from your target audience, kind of on any aspect of your product. So it could be your branding or your logo or your product and packaging design to your listing images and copy. It's totally platform agnostic. So it doesn't really matter if you're selling on Amazon or Walmart or Etsy. It's on we have our own platform and panel of people that we reach out to. So it doesn't matter where you're selling. Our customers are all around the world. So while I don't speak many languages, we are in the process of localizing our website and even the answers that we get into different languages. So we're rolling out Chinese support for our Chinese customers and Russian as well, with more to come depending on customer demand.
Perfect. Okay, then let's start with our agenda. So Jana, could you please, I guess this is an introduction of the marketplaces you work with and the languages you work in. Could you please help us to understand how to localize your store wisely? What's the first step and how to connect with the audience? And how to avoid mistakes.
Sure, absolutely. So I would first start with just talking about Shopify, as that's one of my favorite platforms, and we have a lot of sellers that sell there, and a lot of serious brand sellers are also using Shopify platform, but a lot of them don't know why it is that essential for you to localize the platform when you want to expand internationally. So basically, e-commerce localization is a process of taking an online store existing content and just personalizing it for a different marketplace. For instance, if you have a US-based direct-to-consumer brand expanding into Mexico, you wouldn't then need to build a localized version of its website, largely with Spanish website copy and images of Mexican consumers versus, I don't know, some other consumers if you want to present it in another country. And when it comes to Amazon sellers, basically what that means is that if you have your product listing or everything else, you're going to use Spanish that's spoken in Mexico, not in Europe, for instance, Spanish in Spain, because very interestingly, a Spanish audience in Spain does not like when they see a Mexican content. Basically, they just gonna get really a little bit upset. This is what I found out from my team. So basically, this is something that I never advise. Using the same copy of Spanish in Mexico and Spanish in Spain, which is something that a lot of US sellers do, not knowing that it could cost them a lot. And moving on to the benefits of the e-commerce localization is basically you can increase the market share. You can get less competitors in a different marketplace. The more people will know about your products, the less it costs to acquire new customers. Basically, you can get a tap in the global marketplace. There's basically 5.5 million trillion online shoppers expected to spend in 2024 with a localized e-commerce website. So basically just present in one marketplace, let's say US marketplace, speaking English, and you're not expanding to any other marketplace. Also, wrong thing to do is leaving your website in English, because according to the Harvard Business Review, basically 40% of the whole world only speaks English. So basically when you expand to Germany or Spain or France or Mexico or anywhere else where English is not the main language of the country, you're not targeting every audience, you're targeting basically every other or every third consumer, which is, you know, when you kind of do the calculations, is a lot of the consumers that you are missing out on. And especially, you know, like when talking about like Shopify web shops, the faster delivery to for customers, fast delivery from brands. Like an important part of the localization process involves also regionalizing the inventory, so the products can go from warehouse to customer's address in the little time possible. That's why also you have to localize the delivery methods on your website. You have to localize the currencies, everything. It's not only content, it's basically a lot of things have to be personalized, because when people shop from, if you're going to offer your products for someone in France, people want to know, like they would prefer to buy from a website in their country as language, and that everything is personalized to a French consumer. So they feel like they're buying local or from like a local brand, and not from a US brand where they're not sure what it says. You know, and a lot of times, you know, you get like improved conversion rates because you just target different type of audience that maybe would love your product better. And of course, it all affects your faster growth, because according to like a lot of research that we've seen, and a lot of, you know, clients that we've had, a lot of companies that use like deep localization, they grow at a faster rate than the ones who don't. I know Q1 has been very challenging for everyone, and people are like cutting costs and all of that. But we've seen now, like at the end of Q3, that people are like starting to pick up again, like doing the international growth. They're doing more of a steady long-term game, because let's say like for Amazon sellers, a lot of aggregators have stopped buying their businesses. This is a model that's been very, very popular, and sellers have gotten like crazy multipliers. And now that this like bubble has burst and this era has ended, I think that now people are like, okay, so like how do I build my brand steadily, and how do I grow it again, so that in 2 years time I can sell it for a decent multiplier. So I think that people like sellers are just starting to get around and trying to you know, do things the right way, and just build their businesses after the first initial shock, when they probably thought everything was going to fall apart and they're going to lose their brands and the sales are going to stop. So I think that you know, I just think that localization is the key for everything, no matter what type of seller you are. If you're like an e-commerce seller with any sort of platform of your own, or if you're selling on Amazon or Walmart or anywhere else that you can localize, I think that is quite essential. And there are like tons of strategies that that will help you definitely build this better and more steady.
Yeah, perfect. It's also very interesting. You mentioned that before, like lots of companies, they were, you know, like trying to, they're growing, and the main goal was, you know, like actually sell the e-commerce business to the company that's doing it. And it's also very popular on Shopify, but also, you know, we see it's also popular on Amazon. And now it's like market is getting less, you know, like investors getting less aggressive. But even now, like there's still a lot of cash, so I think it's gonna start again. But maybe the strategy is gonna change, because you know, like people gonna buy maybe more like profitable business, you know, than, you know, like fast growing. And I guess localization is actually a thing that can help you to actually increase your profit, and you really can see how you spend your money, and like what it gives you. Interesting. So let us just, like list the top mistakes which usually people do. Then they are trying to localize the content.
Sure. So when it comes to content, it's basically most of it goes down to just using Google Translate or just using any sort of like machine translation. We've been testing a lot of nowadays, everything is like, AI tools and everything is, based on that platform, translations as well. But for now, nothing beats human translation. Not just because it's our service, but just because that's what the case studies show. And one of the tools that we've tested was Copysmith. We've tested 3 different ones, like top 3 tools that use words to express whatever your brand is, both copywriting and translations. And what we've seen is that the source text, when you use it like an AI based tool, it does do a decent translation. I mean, the translation sounds 60% good, but they just translate whatever they want. So it's not fully based on your source text. For instance, like if you have a brand and it's important for you that it's eco-friendly, that it has an additional handle, so it's has a firmer grip, or it has something else that your competitors don't have, it doesn't mean that this tool will translate all of that. They might just translate that it's eco-friendly and that it has a handle. They'll be just like, it's a great product. It doesn't really mean that it will stick to the text, which means that they will probably omit something that you think it's highly important for your brand, like the key benefits. So they would not stick to the text. And then of course, then additionally, they'll have to pay someone to redo the translation, which takes a lot of work. And translators hate when they see, hey, here's a task for you. Do you mind doing a post editing from after machine translation? Because that means that you're gonna use basically twice as much work on that, because when you redo a poorly written text, it takes too much time for you than when you do it from scratch. So that's not going to be a great solution. And these AI tools are very expensive. So I just think that in the next couple of years, the AI still is not going to be as good as the human translation. So I would say that the first mistake, number 1, for sellers on any platform is basically using machine translations because they're not good enough. And this is how you lose your audience, because you cannot connect with your audience. You just lose them by confusing them. And for instance, like if you read a text, let's say you want to buy a SPF cream for your face, and you're not sure what the ingredients are, and you don't know how to apply it. Maybe you see like the same ingredient written 3 times, and I'm like, do I really want to use this on my face? I would just skip that, because I'll be just like, well, if they're not paying that much amount of effort to their content, I suppose it's not a highly quality product. So I would just skip it and go to the next one, as like an average consumer would have like 6 tabs open at the same time. So it would be easy for someone to skip that product, because you'll go through someone else who would make more sense. So that's number 1 mistake, is definitely doing the machine translation. And number 2 is not doing any sort of keywords, especially when it comes to like Amazon sellers. They're not really great with doing any type of SEO. Like if you have a Shopify website, if you have a website on any other platform, they don't pay attention to keywords, because they're like, whatever, it's like a long game. I'll just do Google ads, or I'll just do PPC, whatever. But to get ranked on Google means a lot. Like for instance, like when we built our website like 4 or 5 years ago, I hired a really good SEO team, and then nothing was happening because it takes time for you to get ranked. And I just think sellers are like, I want it now, I want it tonight, and like I want to see this, like I want to see a big ROI, right? But then after like a year, we got ranked so good that like if you search for like Amazon listing translations, we always rank, like there's like Amazon is first and we're second, and then it goes like some big translation agencies that just do everything. But we really, and you just stay there for like 2 years, you just stay there. So it's really good. And a lot of sellers really don't think that's relevant, but I'd say that it's very important, that content is king, and they don't know how to do keyword research. And it is very simple. Like for the websites that you have, you can use a tool called SEMrush, who's absolutely amazing. And for Amazon, You can do helium-10 combination of like with the data dive or AMZ suggestion expander, because for a lot of products, what's really weird is because you have to be really careful, because all of these tools, they feed off of like other competitors' listings. But what do you do when you don't have a lot of competitors, or maybe you're not selling a highly competitive product? And that means that those results are going to be not great. So let's say if you use like, I don't know, helium-10, if you use like data dive, like if you use like a product that's not highly competitive in data dive, you're going to get 2 keywords because they think that's highly relevant, and that's it. Because most of the tools are designated for US marketplace only, and they work fantastic because they have a lot of data and they have like tons of products to consider and tons of competitors. But if you go to Germany, which is like basically the after the US, it's like the top marketplace where you want to expand to, both like with Shopify and other marketplaces, and in Amazon, or if you want to go to Cdiscount in France, and Rakuten, like you basically really want to do the keyword research that's highly relevant for your niche only. So you basically need to combine a lot of different things, and people just focus on one tool. They're like, okay, I'm going to use helium-10 because it worked great for me for the US marketplace, but it doesn't work great for France. And whatever you get, it's probably not going to be good enough for you. So like for a lot of times, we even have to go to good old Google AdWords and Keyword Planner, because what a lot of people don't realize is that, you know, Google is like, even Amazon and all other platforms, they're all ranked on Google. So sometimes if you don't get good results, there's still solution, and you can just go to like Keyword Planner and you can use it there. But I would say that keywords are definitely number one, because without keywords, nobody will be able to find your product no matter what platform you're on. And Amazon is very complex when it comes to the products that are sold on, when compared to Walmart, Cdiscount, Rakuten, Zalando. All of the others are very, very much simple. So if you mastered Amazon with the whole content game and the algorithm and all that, it's very simple for you to just kind of do the title and then a couple of bullets, and that's it. And you're good to go on any other platforms. And I would definitely advise, like, you know, if you're selling in Germany or Japan, that you just maximize on all the other platforms, because it's much easier to get ranked there for the content, which is much simpler and much simpler algorithm than Amazon or Google, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, was also my like next question on, you know, like how to you know, create this semantic core for your product. But I think you already gave a lot of tips. Yeah, helium-10, SEMrush, it all helps. Another question is like, what to do if you have lots of products? Like if you have like really a lot of products and you first you don't want to do you know, like machine translation, yeah, and the second, if you don't want to, you know, like also like missing out on opportunities with you know, like SEO optimization.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you have, so we've been working with a lot of very big brands. I mean, in terms of like working with Nestle, for instance, and they have a lot of products. Like, you know, we've also worked with a lot of Sephora brands, and those are the brands that have like 10,000 plus SKUs, which is insanely big. So in that case, you would use a platform, but you would still use human translations, but they will go in different strengths. So a lot of these products are going to be, they will not be variations. They could be parents, but they're very short. So even though like as a private label seller brand on Amazon, you would use like A+ brand and I don't know, like big long bullets, even 10 bullets instead of 5. These bigger brands that have like tons of ASINs would just like use basic ones, like basic title and basic bullets, because they do a lot of things like in A+ content, which is very relevant for your brand. But what they would do is like they would maximize on the keywords in the title, in the bullets, and then they will like go all in the A+ brand. And this is how you can like maximize also on the cost and everything else, just by not using that much content, but using highly relevant keywords for your product, and that's how it goes very fast. So don't write like novels in your bullets, because you can say a lot of things and just kind of using those short-term bullets, but using it with good keywords. Because a lot of people are like, I'm ready to spend, I don't know, $100 on my $1,000 aces, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I would say that in that case, if you're limited by budget, then better optimize it with good keywords and decent content than just gonna go and just do the, I don't know, like 3 line of bullets each. And I just think that that's something that could be very cost effective.
Yeah, exactly. This is perfect, but and I think still, if you have a budget, find someone who can professionally do it. If you don't have a budget, just maybe try to figure out how to do it, like via freelancers, etc.
Just don't use Google Translate basically, because you can just hire whoever, but I mean, the machine translation, because it's, first of all, it's free, and I just don't realize why people think that they also have keyword research included. Like Amazon is offering you free translations, and then you're like, I don't have keywords here. And I'm like, seriously? Because like all these tools cost a lot of money, and like, why would Amazon offer translations which are good to you for free and also with keywords? So even if you find some keywords in the content that Amazon offers you, as they use a machine translator, they're not good, and because they're there by accident, and that's it. And also Amazon wants you to rank for certain keywords that they would love for you to use. So even if they put something, it's not going to be like it's not going to be in your benefit, definitely. So basically that's it. But content, as I said, like localizing the content is definitely important. And of course you have the payment methods, because like a lot of countries have different payment methods, because as you know, like in Eastern Europe, it's basically cash on delivery. It's not that much of a credit card. And then in the Netherlands, basically they use domestic payment called Ideal, which is basically like a bank transfer. So that's also very important to understand that, like if you want to open a store in Russia, you're not going to be like, okay, let's use credit cards, because it's not going to be a top premium delivery, payment, PSP basically. It's going to be also cash on delivery that you'll also have to have in addition to everything else that you have. While as in Western Europe, you don't have cash on delivery being like one of the top payment systems. And then of course you have the pricing. I just have to mention pricing a little bit, because it's very interesting, because in different countries, they prefer different type of pricing. Like for instance, like in Germany, you would have like 85.99, but then like, for instance, like in Italy, you will have like 75, you have like full round pricing. So that also works differently in different countries, and you have to be aware of that. So that's something that people never think about, definitely. And then what's also very important is the images, which I think it's also, for certain countries you have to have different images, but I'm sure Justin can talk much more about that than I do.
That's true. Then let's ask Justin. Let me share my screen. Yep. So how actually validate your ideas and design before go to production, before create the like actual content?
Yeah. So I think one of the issues that a lot of people don't think about when they're thinking about expanding markets is even just, first of all, testing out to make sure that you should be selling that product in that market, validating that the need is there, but also testing out your branding and your logos. I think it's easy for people to assume that just because it's successful in maybe the market that they started in, that they can continue with the exact same branding and logo and maybe taglines and messaging, and not testing that against your target audience could, that could kill you right away, right? Like if it's misunderstood, or it's confusing in the language that you're selling into. So I think that's something that people should be aware of. Let's see.
You can share your screen.
Okay, yep. Sure. Yeah, I can share just like how people typically test using PickFu. So the way that PickFu works is that it's very straightforward. It's a single question survey where you ask a question. And in this example, they're testing out logos. You could put up your logos. And so in this case, I'm targeting 50 US based women. And so what's nice is our target audience will go and vote on what they like, but not only that, but they'll also give written explanations why. So you actually have some actionable feedback, or maybe you understand why they find it offensive. Maybe a certain color is a no-no in a certain country, whatever it is. So I think this is a really important way to iterate on. Maybe it just requires a small adjustment. Maybe the logo is fine, but maybe you just need to change color or remove some imagery or whatever it is. So yeah, testing this kind of stuff early before launching into a new market, I think is important, because that could trickle down and impact all of your products, right? If they're all underneath like one brand umbrella. Yeah, so and that goes to like packaging as well. Like packaging differs a lot by country as well, because there's different preferences. Some cultures like very simplistic packaging, some like a lot of details and like all the ingredients and like everything listed out. And so that's really important to know, right? If you're selling, maybe you're going from a country that likes all that detail, and then you're going into one that, like, that's simplistic, like it's not going to fly. So you need to think about more than just optimizing, I think, the listing aspects of it. And you need to like kind of step back onto your product and your packaging and all that kind of stuff, because what we find at PickFu is that a lot of times people come and they try to optimize a little bit too late in the process. They're like, hey, why isn't this selling? Can I just adjust my main image or my title and like suddenly expect my sales to increase? Well, what they find is that like, oh, they've made a critical mistake somewhere way earlier in the product life cycle, right? They just didn't validate how the product was initially designed. And so what we always try to recommend to our customers now is don't wait until the very end where you've already put it up and it's like already too late. You've already bought all this inventory. You've already shipped it off to your fulfillment, and it's just not moving. Well, do it before that, right? Like you have the opportunity to test things that don't exist yet. You could test product concepts. You could test 3D renders. All of this stuff you could test before you even have a listing up. And yeah, so that's my recommendation before like going into a new market.
Perfect. So how you think people actually should use PickFu? Because like first you show us like 2 images together, and now here's 3 images. Like what's work better, and what kind of audience also your platform has?
Yeah, so I mean, you could really test any aspect of your product. Images could be product concepts or packaging. It could be this is another example of main images. I think I had a few more here. Main image layouts is really interesting, because I think that's another thing that could differ by not only country, but also the type of product, and also your type of audience. So some people just like to see everything laid out. Some people like to see a little bit more stylistic. And this will probably even differ by the marketplace that you're selling on, right? I think the way that people lay images out on Amazon is probably going to be different than the way you would put it on your Shopify store or something like on Instagram. So like, you need to test kind of per platform. The other thing that I think is an interesting thing that not enough customers do is actually even testing out what features are going to be important. And this could differ by audience segmentation. So not only country, but also the type of people. So, when you're selling a product, you could ask your target audience, like, when you're going to buy something, how would you rank these certain features? Because maybe there's like a dozen things that you think are important. Well, you're not going to emphasize a dozen things in your title or in your bullet points. So, you can actually go and just ask them like, hey, if you're buying lettuce online, like what's important to you? And people will actually rank all these different features, and that'll help you organize your bullet points. That might help you organize your secondary images, your infographics. So yeah, I think that's an important thing to do, especially if you're going into a different market. Another one, talking about titles. I remember when I was analyzing this one, I think what was interesting was people liked this one because it actually read more naturally. And so I think there's a common a common trend with a lot of people where they just stick too many keywords into the title, right? And then when people still want to read it. It's still a title. Like you still want to try to read it, and if it sounds very jarring because you just stuffed too many keywords, then it's going to be awkward. And so that's another thing to really be aware of when you're translating, right? Because if you just did the machine translation and all it did was translate a bunch of keywords, then it's really going to sound awkward when someone else reads it. So, try to test that. Here's another one that's that could be used at a lot of different stages, and it's just getting open-ended feedback on a listing. So maybe you've already built that listing and you're like, hey, why isn't this converting? You can actually just ask people to, hey, go check it out. Like, what questions do you still have about this? And it's another way to surface the fact that maybe you didn't have the right bullet points. Maybe you're missing some imagery. Maybe there were obvious things that you thought you communicated, but it's not being emphasized. Let me see. So in terms of countries, so we're focused mostly on US right now, with a lot of our customers being outside the US selling into the US market. And that's why we are focusing on translating our core user experience, and also the answers. The answers are translated by machine because it's just much faster. But our core website is translated by our own team, that we have people both that are native Chinese speakers, Mandarin speakers, and also Russian speakers. But this is an example of we're in a beta test of Germany, Canada, Australia, with the UK coming afterwards, kind of in order of Amazon Marketplace popularity. And so this is an example of some 15 German-based respondents that we're just kind of beta testing, testing out interest in a particular product, and just asking them to rate on a scale of 1 to 5 whether they would buy these exercise bands. And you'll see down here, in this case, the entire poll was presented in German. The user experience to them was presented in German. The question was actually translated into German as well, and they all answer in German because they are native German speakers. And then we do auto translate it back into English. And then if you're a Chinese customer, we can also translate it into Chinese as well. So yeah, that's in the process of being released over the next couple months. And so we're definitely going to keep adding more countries after that, so that people can keep expanding into different target markets.
Perfect. So yeah, it's very interesting. I just want to repeat again what actually you need to test. Like, first you need to test your logo, your branding.
Yeah.
Second, you need to test your title, probably, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some specific stuff in the description, or some kind of saying inside the content. Then you need to test the main picture, right?
Main image, yeah.
Yeah, main image. And what else?
I mean, if you're able to change anything about the product, I would test the product design and the packaging. It kind of depends on if you're willing to make how big of an investment you're willing to make going into this new market. But especially if you're not going to change it, I would at least gather feedback to see, like, hey, would you buy this? Because if maybe they'll be fine that it looks exotic from a different country, and maybe it plays in your favor. So I would test it at the very least, even if you're not planning to change the packaging or product design. But I think that's important. And then obviously all those other secondary images as well, because lifestyle images and infographics, like I think you should test those as well, because what is an appealing lifestyle image to people in the US may not be the same in other target markets.
That's very, very, very true. Very good point. I think you guys both, have lots of funny stories about how customer, doing mistakes, how they test, and how they, do you have anything in your mind?
I don't know if there's anything I would want to share from about a customer, but yeah, I mean, we actually see it a lot the other way, where a lot of our customers are successful selling on Amazon India or a different country, and they're trying to bring it into the US. And I think a lot of the things that maybe work in other countries, I think the US has maybe more like the US culture is like very sensitive to things right now. So I think it's even more important when you're taking something from outside the US and trying to sell it into the US. We see this a lot with our Chinese customers, both e-commerce sellers and gaming, where things are culturally very different there. And then they think that, oh, like we can do it in the US, but a lot of times it's very inappropriate, like maybe the imagery or like how they're portraying, people is it's like completely unacceptable to the US market.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Very sensitive market. Yeah, that's a good choice of words. Yeah.
People asking, how do you find target audience for a service in every country? How you actually find people who test this?
Yeah, so we work with a lot of third-party consumer panel services. So there are a lot of companies that will focus 100% on just getting consumers signed up to answer surveys for money. And so basically we stitch them all together, and then we have our own layer of data quality and also our demographic targeting on top of that. And so we go through those third-party services and we pay them to pay the respondents to answer the questions.
Oh, yeah, that's very interesting, very impressive. And how many countries you have, like which like potential audience you can test your products to?
Yeah, so we're like I said, we're beta testing Germany, Canada, Australia, and UK will probably follow that. So, and then we're looking for feedback on what other countries people want to go into. I think we're looking into Japan, and Korea, perhaps, just to hit some of the Asian markets. And I know that we've had some requests for India as well. But if there's other, I think there are some Spanish-speaking ones that I'm probably missing, aside from Spain, but like Mexico, yeah.
Wow. That's actually a lot of big choice. Okay, I guess thank you very much for sharing. Let me shortly, shortly say what we are actually doing and how our service can help sellers to better understand, market landscape. So here we are. What we actually do, we get the data from the Shopify stores. Then they start to look at the market. We will look at like different kind of, like marketplaces, and actually we can see that totally, like now e-commerce space are gonna slow down. Officially in the US, their growth rate gonna be like less than 10%, I guess. So probably one of the best place to go is actually Shopify, because first, Shopify is easy to localize the content. It's easy to go to another markets, and also Shopify. Like with Shopify, you can manage your traffic yourself and not really depend on marketplace, because like now to go into Amazon or go to in like Walmart, you actually need to have a budget. It's not like it was like 5 years ago, 4 years ago. So that's the issue. But the issue that we found out sometimes is not easy to find the best-selling products for Shopify audience, because Shopify audience is actually like, or any D2C audience, there are like few segments. First is of course dropshippers. Second is e-commerce sellers, and like the audience, and also like brands. So like for who's selling online, like dropshippers and e-commerce companies, they need to find like products they can sell on via D2C, because like it's different than any kind of marketplace. So what we do, we actually get the data for almost 90,000 products. We check the data every day to just like see what kind of products are performing well, and what actually traction for each of the product. So all the data is public data, but it's data from the real Shopify stores. We can, like, for example, I look in kind of, like some kind of category. I like this, like jeans example. Like, for example, I want to sell jeans. And here, what question I have is actually how to sell, who is my competitors, and what price they sell and what kind of content they use. Then I just put jeans. It's like still lots of, let's say I want to, sell skinny jeans, right? So skinny jeans, here we have like 27,000 products, and all of these products, sold from Shopify. To better understand which products are actually selling through Facebook ads, you also can, like put additional filter and see what kind of products selling here. Okay, we can see that kind of jeans. What data is actually helps make decision like if I should sell this product or not. First, of course, is revenue. So we can see revenue for last 7, 30, 90, and 60 days. Second thing is sales, because sales is actually correlate with revenue. And of course, it's price. This product never changed the price. Reviews and stocks. Let's see. This product have like perfect availability, and this could be like from the case for many Shopify brands, because like you also can change the numbers from your from your store, and you can like set up any kind of random number. But here we can see that it's like actually numbers are not really random, and like you also can see how it's changed day by day. Another thing, you can actually see if the content your competitors do is really compelling, and you also can kind of benchmark it against your content. For example, for this product, they have like a big description, which probably helps them to do SEO. They have 8 images, and they don't have videos. So maybe if you want to compete with this particular product, or like you see this particular store as your competitor, you maybe do like some kind of videos, or you can work on more specifications, just to make your content very clear and like easy to understand to your audience. Another thing, if some kind of brand or some kind of seller has like lots of products, sometimes it's very difficult to work and really understand how to work with content. So here, for example, they have Fashion Nova, and Fashion Nova, they have more than 220 products, and we can divide these products into good score products and poor score products. Of course, we have like our criteria, but you also can set up, like some kind of benchmark yourself. Here, the interesting thing, you also can see like how other people sell your product, what kind of content they use. So here's like, for example, this is, I guess, some kind of a second shop store. So they also sell in this product. But let's go back to Fashion Nova. This here we can see like interesting things. Those products they have like very good sales, but for like here we can see like very little description, of course, because they have like a lot of products, and like it's not easy to like a lot to make content for each product. But some of the products, even those which sells really good, they like lack of images. Like for example, here you can have like very good sales, but still only one image. So maybe if you improve number of images here, you can improve your sales. Or for example, like there are no video at all. Of course, it's very hard to make video when you have such a big number of products, but still that's how you can increase at least sales for the best-selling products. Also, I mentioned that I can share some kind of like product research thing. Sorry. So what you do usually then they look at the like different products, especially on Shopify. First, we check competitors, and they check like the products we have like good GMV, good revenue. Second, they check the seasonal demand. What I mean by seasonal demand. So not every product sells good in different seasons, and we need to find some kind of products which actually sales. Oh, sorry, I don't demonstrate my screen, I guess. Yeah. I'm very sorry. Yeah, so I'm like talking a lot and not showing the actual thing. Yep. Here we go. Sorry. So what we can see here. Yeah. Let's go back. So for many sellers, the issue is then you actually can sorry, forgot what I was saying about. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back and share my screen. Good. So here what we can see, yeah, you can find actually products which were created, like for example, like started from 1st of August. So like very new products. And that's what actually makes the search more easier, because if the new products get in good numbers in terms of sales and in terms of revenues, that there are huge potential. And here could be a few reasons. First, because it's seasonal products, so it's season change, and like there are new products coming up. And second thing, it could be that this product is actually trending product, and like just getting better because of different reasons. To better understand what kind of product to sell, it's we also can add Facebook ad filter. What it gives you, it gives understanding what kind of products is actually have enough margin to sell it, not from the organic traffic, not from the traffic of the brand, but also like for the actually through their Facebook ad, because we all know that Facebook ad now is actually very expensive. It's also very different, like it's not like a few years ago. So usually many like drop shippers or e-commerce companies, they can choose like more marginable, more profitable products to sell it online. Yeah, let's check this bassinet, and you can see like, oh yeah, so the bassinet cost it's like more than 100 US, 16 actually, and the GMV for that product is actually very, very big. So it's almost 5 million in last 1 month. But what it can do in terms of content, they can increase the number of words in the title, and maybe to do more videos. And actually, we don't have any videos because but video is very. If it's not actually if effect of their speed of their loading of your pages, it's the good things that help convert can convert and drive the sales. Here is the, I guess, example that was showing for the Fashion Nova. I guess you guys all heard it, but you didn't see the screen, so let me continue shortly. Yeah, so here you can see like how some products, they have extremely good sales, like this product, etc. And of course, they can make like a long enough description, which Jana already mentioned that it's actually very hard to work. Then you have like lots of products, but then images is the very, very basic thing. It's very important. So adding images and also like working better on like best-selling products, like to add in videos, like working better on SEO optimization is also helps to drive sales a lot. Yep. So what else I can say is very important. It's very important to find your price segment. So not that all the products, like should be in, not that all products could be sell by your judgment, because sometimes we as a sellers, we don't really like see the full market. We think like, oh, could be like super cheap, or this could be too expensive, but we don't really see the whole picture. And that's why you also can like add some kind of filters just to see how many sales in this segment from, like, for example, forward price, like from like 50 to 100, from 100 to 150, and so on. Another thing which is very important, and you need to think about your marketing budget, but I think it's like in another topic, like really big. Of course, you can check like what the inventory each product has, each competitor has. Yep. I hope like the information that I shared just now was helpful somewhat, but I'm sure it's not enough to really understand like how to find right products. So we are gonna in the chat, you're gonna see their promo code. It's called bestseller. Using that promo code, you can get the access to Sellscreen for 7 days. Also, you can find this promo code on the button under the video. We also, yep, it's not the thing. Yeah, so you can find that promo code under the video and let us know if you have any questions. You can contact our support. Our support is on the basement of our website. Elsa, we would love to share contacts of Jana. I think you can also contact her from her website, or maybe from her social media, and Justin, but I think for Justin it's more his website, PickFu.com, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yep. Perfect. So if you have any questions, guys, let us know in, let us know, but we're gonna see. Yeah, Ilya saying, I have a good idea for expanded into Russia. We saw that you translate service in Russian. Yeah. Yeah, I guess Ilya is the person Jana knows, and
Yeah.
Okay. Let us wait for a moment, because like maybe it's like people just write in questions. So Jana, how people can find your agency?
So you guys can follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my favorite social network, and I share a lot of really good information when it comes to e-commerce and Amazon and everything e-commerce related when it comes to international marketplaces. So you can follow me on LinkedIn, on Facebook as well. And also, if you have any questions or maybe you'd like some advice on anything related to international expansion, you can shoot me an email at Jana that's Jana at ylt-translations.com. I'm happy to help with anything I can.
Perfect. Perfect. What social media are you guys running in PickFu?
Probably LinkedIn is the best for us as well.
Okay.
I would probably just go to our website, pickfu.com. You can email me, Justin at pickfu.com.
Perfect. Okay. Yep. I guess we don't have questions.
I'm sorry, there's a big insect right here, and I was just really scared, so I just kept on looking like this. So. Because I'm outside, so I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, this is like vacation mode. Well, okay. So I guess thank you guys. Thanks everyone like join us today. Thanks Jana and Justin. It was a real pleasure to have you here. Yeah. Bring PickFu in Russia, no services with that quality. Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it on. I'll put it on the list.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I guess for Justin it's morning, so have a good day ahead. For Jana it's evening. Had a good evening. Bye guys. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.